Neil from Essex out with one of our salesmen, Justin Mall, to walk us around the Alamo Mantis. I missed training the other day. Justin's a heck of a lot more knowledgeable in this than I am.
Essex, a helping hand with your land.
Tell me a little bit here, what on earth possessed Alamo to make something so crazy looking?
So the big reason is a lot of the states are requiring narrow transport. So today with tractors, they're not necessarily looking to put boom mowers on them. So your width restrictions are getting less and less, and tractors are getting wider and wider. So it's hard to outfit a tractor with a boom mower and stay under 102 inches wide. This machine here, all folded up with this boom mower on, is 102 inches wide. Okay. So it meets all local requirements, state requirements for on-road mowing. It's just, they wanted an all-purpose machine. This has so many functions. It's just, you can't do everything with a tractor and a boom mower that you can with this.
So we definitely have seen that 102 number before, because some of the bid specs here that we've seen lately, we've not been able to participate in because we can't get our tractors that narrow anymore.
Right.
So this gives us a solution to be able to do that.
It does.
What are some of the things that are making that tractor setup more difficult now? Because we used to be able to do that in the past, but you just don't see as many options anymore.
So the main thing is tractors now have DEF tanks and Tier 4 emissions, so everything is getting more compact. There's less frame space underneath the tractor with tanks and stuff. There's huge modifications involved in putting boom mowers on tractors, and tractors now just don't have the room to do it.
Yeah. And you even see that on some of them where, like the traditional tractor boom mower now, sometimes you've got a radiator hanging out off the back, right? Because there's just nowhere to put that stuff anymore.
Right.
I see this has got a front 3-point hitch on it.
It does.
So that's giving us what kind of versatility then?
So you can put snow plows on it, you can put snow blowers on it, you could put a front mower on it, you can put a power angle broom on the unit. So anything, essentially 3-point attachment that's hydraulically driven, you can put on the front here. Also, there is a PTO option that you can put PTO implements on the front of it.
So you have enough hydraulic flow,
yes,
actually to run a hydraulically driven version,
yes,
in addition to an optional PTO.
Correct.
So you go both directions. That's cool. I know I've seen before some of the setups we've been doing in the shop to give townships all season versatility for this kind of stuff, of taking a regular tractor, putting on a boom mower, fabricating a front 3-point hitch, and all this. It's more work to just come up with this one configuration that works for a couple of years until the manufacturer changes the tractor,
right,
and then it's starting all over again, right?
Right.
So there's so much variability in those things, and that makes them harder to support in the long term.
Right. The other advantage to this is it's not just a boom mower.
Right.
You can put a set of triple wide area mowers on it. Its only function is to mow. A boom tractor, once you put a boom on it, that's its only function. You can't use that tractor for anything else throughout the year.
So even though this thing swings back and out of the way, this whole thing comes off?
It does.
Okay.
So Alamo says it would take a day to take this implement off and switch out. So it's essentially a full shop day with somebody who knows what they're doing. So this boom mower would come off. There is a pin down below.
You can see it sits in that rack down there.
And then this whole thing lifts off. When you do switch implements, this rear hydraulic block stays with this mower.
Okay.
So your next attachment that goes on gets its all new hydraulic banks. This just sits on here, it slips off and comes with. Let's see how it's just kind of hooked on there. So every implement uses different hydraulic requirements. So different hoses, different kind of controls. So that's why they kind of made this so modular.
Right.
It's as simple as unhooking some hoses and taking this off.
Yeah, so for all the functions that are out on this thing, you're not having to gut all of those hoses to pull the boom.
Correct.
You're taking the entire manifold and really just its feed and return lines are going to stay behind.
Right.
That's cool. We did a factory tour with the company that makes this block, Hydroforce. It's in another video here. And the engineering behind these things is really cool.
And then once you do switch your implements out in here, this is all your hydraulic banks, so this is where you would hook your hydraulic lines to.
Yeah, those couplers are no joke.
Inside the door behind you here, if you want to pop that door open, this is where your battery is going to be stored. You can also get into your hydraulic hoses to kind of diagnose what's going on. If you have a leak, you can get in there and see. This unit does have 3 hydraulic pumps on it.
Okay.
So one would drive your drives, one would drive your implements, and the other pump is for your front implement.
Okay.
So it does have a separate pump for that.
So that's when we were talking about that hydraulic drive out the front actually
Correct.
is a pump.
Yes.
There's a, what, Perkins diesel?
It's a Tier 4 Perkins diesel.
Tier 4 Perkins diesel.
So it is a DEF machine. It does require DEF fluid.
Right. Easy to service from the looks of it, right? I mean, you've got room down there. Your air cleaner's really accessible. We have another
fuel filters here, oil filters there. Everything's easy to get to, easy to work on. Tech can get in here and really look at it. On the other side, it's just as open. Panels open nice and wide.
Yeah. The cooling package behind here, though, is enormous.
Yes. So all of your coolers will be back here. So you would have your main radiator for the machine, and then there are hydraulic coolers built into here. And then you have your air conditioning cooler and stuff. This here will swing out to blow it out.
Yeah.
So it makes it very accessible to get in here.
Yeah, so you can see, like, when we're adding hydraulic coolers and stuff onto tractors, when we're adding boom mowers, it's all there.
It is. On this side here, you would have your turbo and your emissions filter on the top here. Very accessible. I mean, we can see that I'm not a tiny guy, and I could still feel comfortable in here working. It's nice and open. A lot of these new tractors, you open up the hood and you can't see anything. This one here does have room to work around.
Yeah, no, in the case of this, a little bit more, you know, you have length, you have rear end, and that weight behind the machine is not necessarily a bad thing, right? So they just have a lot more room to work than having to shoehorn all this under a hood.
Yeah. So the counterweight on here, they did put some thought process into this. So they built fork pockets right into the counterweights.
Okay.
So when you go to remove this weight, there's bolts right here that you would take off, bring your forklift in, and pick this whole stack of counterweights off.
And then come in and install your wings for your mowing. So generally, we talk about potentially taking this machine and using it for multiple uses like that. You don't do that every day.
Right.
But is that seasonally that we see companies switching that stuff back and forth, or when is that done?
So springtime, guys would put a boom mower on. Once they're done mowing in the spring, they might want to put the wide area mowers on for summertime interstate mowing. Once grass is kind of done growing for the year, they will either choose to put the boom mower back on to push tree branches and stuff back, or at that point they might put the snow blower on the front of this thing.
So we're spring and fall on a boom mower, interstate work in the summertime, and then potentially using a snow blower for the winter.
Right.
What are you showing me here back behind the tire?
So this machine does have stability control.
Okay.
So behind the tire here, you'll notice a cylinder. What happens when we were going around the corner, turning downhill, that really plants the machine and keeps it from getting all unstable. Typically your boom mower tractors will have kind of a floating front axle. So once you get off canter, it will kind of lift your back tire off the ground. Right. With this here, it just really plants it to the ground, causing it to be more stable.
So that's intentional that it's on this side because of the mower being here. So
correct.
It basically offsets the weight of the mower hanging out. It gives some of that stability that we notice in the cab. So show me around. So I reach down here and turn the key.
Yep. Let the screen load here.
That's an impressive looking screen.
It's a very large, easy to read screen. Everything, when it pops up on the screen, you'll be able to see every function that it has, where you can make your adjustments. It'll give you your diagnostics for your mower. Once the weight screen turns on here, we can turn it on. So we'll reach down, start the engine.
Okay. So I gotta start the engine. Oh, there you go. Because there's probably enough diagnostic stuff that it's waiting for.
So on your control stick here, everything is labeled. It's just like an excavator, so if you pull this stick back towards you, it will lift the boom up. If you bring the stick in towards you, It will bring the boom in and out, so it's just like an excavator.
Okay.
And then on your stick, you have a couple different toggle switches here.
Yep.
So this one here, everything is labeled, so when you bring the toggle towards you, it'll move the boom back and forth. The bottom rocker here will tilt your head.
Cool.
The black toggle will open and close your cutter door. And then you also have 2 rocker switches next to your joystick.
Okay.
That will telescope your boom in and out.
This is a lot more intuitive than the controls that are in a lot of the tractors.
Yes. Once you get operating time in, you can really know what each one does, and you don't even have to think about it.
And that rotates your head.
If you ever get into trouble, there is an attachment shut-off button. So it's an emergency kill. It will kill all the power to your attachment.
Okay.
With this particular machine, you can run a set of triple mowers. So you get, I believe it's 22 feet cut. You'll have a wing mower on the right side, wing mower on the left side, and you'll have a mower on the front.
So is that these 3, or these are 3 PTOs
They
then?
would be the 3 PTOs. So
Okay.
to engage the mower, you would just turn a toggle on. That activates your head.
Okay.
To turn it off, you would just hit the toggle.
So you're using that left-hand PTO to drive
Yes.
the hydraulics for the mower.
Other than that, your throttle was on a rocker. So with this machine here, we have an inching pedal.
Okay.
So when we're ready to go into work mode, we take our direction stick, push it the whole way front. The
Okay.
machine will not go anywhere if your inching pedal's down. So once we want to start moving, we just slowly let off the inching pedal. So when you're mowing, you can control the speed that you're going while remaining your hand on the stick for control while you're mowing stick.
Oh, right. Okay. So I'm
So
not driving with my hand.
You're
I'm
not driving with
over
your
here
hand, you're
the-
driving with your foot.
Yeah.
So as we go along, if you want to go a little faster, you just let off the pedal.
Okay.
And if you want to slow down, if you get into a heavier brush and you want the mower to chew, you just push your inching pedal down and slow down and let the mower chew away.
So this very simply is then is setting my direction over here on the right-hand
Yes.
side, and then that's all of my speed control. There's
All
no speed control
Right.
over here.
You can do the stick speed control,
Okay.
but when you're using a boom mower, a lot of your hand function is going to
Tied
be
up
on that
anyway.
boom stick.
Right. Yeah. So you decide, oh, I've got a heavy spot, I need to slow down, and
Right.
you're not coming down here. Right.
Other than that, pretty simple to run. We are in 4-wheel steering, so your turning radius in the 4-wheel steering, it's not quite a 0 turn, but I mean it turns a very, very tight radius. When you have the 2-wheel steer on, your turning radius will almost triple. So it is just a very stable machine when you're turning and when you're mowing.
Yes. So if we go, let's try that here. So if we take the boom, let's do something a little silly, because that's what we do, right? Lift this up.
So you
I
can
clearly
actually
have
telescope that thing the whole way out.
very clearly no idea what I'm doing.
That's why I said there's a huge learning curve when it comes to this machine. Not everything is easy.
Right. Well,
Once you get time in it, I mean, you will learn.
I mean, there's how
So-
many 6, 7 functions on that boom there in and of itself, right?
If we stretch this boom the whole way out, we'll keep it a little low to the ground here.
Yeah, try to tip us over. That's what I was going to try to do.
So it is 24 feet stretched the whole way out. So if we go up the hill here,
you can tell even from that little bit of motion right there, you know, like I've done videos with maybe 3 different booms at this point. There's very little rock from the machine
Right.
when you throw that out. I mean, you could tell the stability of it is better than a tractor.
and this machine is all-wheel drive all the time. You cannot take it in and out of all-wheel drive, which is kind of nice because it's one less thing for you to think about. But right now we are on some uneven ground. You will see that mower tip down on the ground, but the machine itself does not feel unsafe. With that boom stretched the whole way out, we are turning downhill, which is generally a no-no when you have all your counterweight downhill.
Yeah.
But you just easily come around. It's very stable inside here. I mean, you don't feel unsafe or like it's going to tip over.
No, not at all. I mean, even that little shimmy right there, just the thing feels a lot more planted, right?
And with a flail head, it is a good amount of weight hanging out there. But it's simple, stable. Even if so what we usually do is we will bring this stick up and kind of rock the machine. So even with all this weight hanging out here, I mean, it's still a stable machine.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, you really dropped the boom there, and it just... That's it.
Yeah, inside here, we're not rocking back and forth.
No, not at all.
You're not smashing into the side windows.
Yeah.
You still remain pretty safe.
Yeah. Huh. So give me a quick run through on the screen up here. There's a lot more to this than it looks like, than just like fuel and engine RPMs, right?
Yeah, so all your functions are going to be done through this screen, whether you're turning your axle stability on or off, whether you're going to put it in two-wheel steer, four-wheel steer, or crab steer. So this screen here, when you go from four-wheel to two-wheel, you have to have your axles aligned. So this is just a gauge, so you don't have to be turning around looking at your wheels and tires. So there it automatically pops into two-wheel steering. To turn it back, you can hit this, and this will give your option for two-wheel steering, four-wheel steering, or crab crawling. If we get out of that screen, we can just pop back out of there.
Do you think, is there a reason you would want to crab crawl this thing? Other than you can, because
there could be if you're in a tight area or if you get into mud.
Okay.
You can crab crawl out of the mud against your ruts, so it kind of helps you get unstuck.
Okay.
So there is a function for that. Here you will have your working speed and your travel speed.
Okay.
On here, when you go into travel, this one's set up that your backup camera will automatically go on. So when you're going down the highway, you don't have to worry about somebody flying up behind you. If you want the camera on all the time, you can choose to have the camera on all the time or have your gauges up. On the screen here, you can go day mode and night mode, depending on what time of day you're working. This will be for notes, if there's any faults, or gives you your information, so your axle pivot lock is on now, so you can get out of there. You can fold and unfold your side step here to get in and out of the machine. It is a hydraulic step, so you can fold and unfold your step. If you're confused at what the controls do, like Neil has shown us here, you can hit Controls Help, and this will pop up all the functions that's on that joystick.
Cool.
So it tells you what every button does, which kind of function does what. On here, you can kind of go into a diagnostic screen, so you can tell what all your hydraulics are doing. If you go back here, you can recalibrate it, so if your axles aren't straight and you're going down the road, you can recalibrate your steering to make sure you are tracking straight. It'll give you your implement information, so right now our mower is disengaged, tells us what our pump pressures are. This will give you more diagnostics about what's going on, pressures and sensors and that kind of stuff.
So I don't know if you know this or not, from the service side, would our techs carry a laptop to work on this thing? Or does this screen literally do everything?
This screen will do everything.
Okay.
The only thing you cannot do on this screen is engine diagnostics.
Okay.
You have to have the Perkins
set up to work on emissions and that kind of stuff. But any of the boom, servo, mower stuff is all
that
in
can
here.
be done through the screen. On here, there's also a reversing fan on this unit. So if you're in a real dusty environment, you can manually hit that reversing fan to blow your radiator out. It will do it automatically if you don't do it. On the screen here, if you want to monitor stuff separate, you can monitor your hydraulics, you can monitor your engine or your boom. You can have 3 functions at one time on this screen. So if you're sitting in here and you're trying to run diagnostics, you can see what everything is doing.
All at one time. Yeah.
If you don't want to monitor the boom, you can do miscellaneous, and that will give your just miscellaneous information. Or if you do have the wide area mower on here, you can pull up the information about your side mower or your front mower. It does have USB logging, so there is a USB port on this screen, so it helps the tech if you're having an issue that all you have to do is log your information onto the USB and send it to your tech, and he will be able to tell you exactly why the machine's doing what it's doing when it's doing it. Other than that, it's so it's going to be your DEF level,
Yep.
your RPM gauge, and your fuel gauge.
Easy enough.
Easy enough. It looks intimidating, but it's really not hard once you know the screen.
Yeah. No, it's you can very easily just follow the icons, right? And you can make your way through it.
So once you're done working and you want to go to travel speed,
Yep.
return your stick to neutral. We'll hit the little turtle, it turns to a bunny, and we're good to travel in road speed.
Yeah, so. Now we're not using the inching pedal here like we were with the boom mower, right? So we're just foot off the pedal and use the hand drive over on the right.
Yep, what I found, it is easier to control the machine when you're in drive mode to just use your joystick.
Right.
That's one less thing you have to worry about, hand-eye coordination, your foot pedals. It's just easier just to grab a hold of the direction stick and use that. So it will do 25 mile an hour in travel mode. And it feels pretty stable at 25 mile an hour.
So if I'm coming up here and we want to turn around, we're going to do this in two-wheel drive here because
Two-wheel steering.
two-wheel steering, right? So there's nobody behind me. So I'm going to crank this thing around, and I don't even get to 90 degrees before hitting the white line on the other side. And then we back it up and go the other way.
So it is kind of cumbersome in two-wheel steering.
Yeah.
You would have to do a 3-point turn on a road to get turned around.
Right.
Or the trick to it is if we put this thing in 4-wheel steering, make sure our tires are all lined up. So now that we're in 4-wheel steering, we can make a complete U-turn and stay within the road area.
Yeah, so I'm going from white line to white line. Hardly, you don't even need a shoulder to be able to pull that off. So if you do one side of the road and you need to go over and do the other here, it's not some wiggle around in front of traffic. You just throw that in 4-wheel and crank her around. And you're off and going the other direction.
Yep. So you don't have to worry about doing a 3-point turn in the middle of the road with oncoming traffic.
Yeah. And you think, I mean, this thing's not small.
No. No, it is not a small machine.
That's a little bit on the Alamo Mantis. Here at Messick's, we have nearly 30 salespeople, and we sell a wild breadth of equipment. There are going to be particular people inside of our dealership that specialize on certain machines and are really going to know them well enough to understand them and be able to operate them. Justin in particular here comes from a long history of a lot of time as an operator. Really gives him an edge when selling equipment because he can understand what things are like in the seat. You're shopping for a piece of equipment like this and we can help. This is a guy that really is going to be able to tell you whether this is the right machine for you. This is obviously going to be a little bit more expensive than going through and outfitting a traditional tractor with a boom mower, but I think it's very easy to see that the experience as the operator in the seat, the job that it's going to do, and the versatility that it potentially has is worth a little bit of a premium over top of a little tractor. So if we can hook you up with Justin, his contact information is going to be down here in the bottom. He's glad to help. Got any parts needs for machines that you've got, or have something that needs to be fixed, or you're shopping for a piece of equipment, give us a call at Messick's. We're available at 800-222-3373 or online at messicks.com. And I have an air ride seat in here, right? Which is...
You do, I don't.
I was gonna say, I think the air ride seat was set for you, not for me. It's
maybe.
I'm getting bounced around a little bit right now.
It's good. Yeah. You feel safe with me doing that?
Not really.